Coming off of a rough loss to the Boston Celtics, the Knicks traveled to Minnesota to take on the 5-5 Rudy Gobert-less Timberwolves. The first few minutes of the game saw both teams rely heavily on the three-point shot as Reddish and Julius Randle both knocked down a pair of threes each for the Knicks, and Kyle Anderson and Karl-Anthony Towns knocked down one each of their own. After the first timeout, the Knicks lead 12-11. Randle, 15 in the first quarter, then proceeded to knock down three more threes in the next few minutes of what should have been an emphatic run. But like Saturday against Boston, they could not find a way to defend the outside shot, and the game remained a back-and-forth affair. It wasn't until after the second timeout of the quarter that the Knicks were finally able to pull away a bit. With the second unit starting to come in for both teams, the Wolves started to miss a few shots while the Knicks remained incredibly hot from three. Before the end of the first quarter, Barrett, Obi Toppin, and Immanuel Quickley also found a way to get in on the fun as they knocked down a combined 4 threes. The Knicks ended up finishing the period up 38-29 thanks in large part to their 10-19 performance from downtown. The bench unit then started the second quarter where they left off en route to a 10-0 run, capped off with another Obi Toppin 3 at the 9:13 mark of the quarter. Minnesota was forced to call a timeout and talk things over as their fans started to rain down boos. And it didn't get any prettier for them after that, either. The Knicks were consistently getting stops, and it allowed them to get good looks on offense. Within a few minutes, they managed to go on another 10-4 run before Minnesota called yet another timeout. Coming out of the short break, D'Angelo Russell, who had been sitting for quite a while, finally got it going with a few baskets and free throws, but it really was just him and Towns anchoring the Wolves' offense in the first half. Even with their offense slowly starting up, they still had a very hard time getting back into the game due to their lack of defensive intensity. While the Knicks' insanely hot shooting cooled off a bit, the Wolves' defensive effort remained, as Walt Clyde Frazier put it, embarrassing. The rest of the quarter was a bit slower paced and ended up being pretty even, but the Knicks still managed to take a 76-52 lead heading into the break. Randle led the way for New York with his 21st half points. He was also backed up by Brunson's 10, Toppin's 12, Barrett's 9, and Quickley's 7. For Minnesota, the aforementioned Russell, 11, and Towns, 13, were the only players to score more than 8 through the first 24 minutes. Inexplicably silent for the Wolves was their young phenom Anthony Edwards, who is averaging a career-high 22.8 ppg this season, but only managed to score 5 points on 5 shots in 20 minutes.